Hello everyone and welcome to our lesson. This hour we're going to talk about the past a little bit, okay, and we're going to talk about the expression old school. Okay, so when you're ready to come on into the class, please feel free to come on in and we'll go ahead and get our lesson started. My name is Carissa and I'll be your teacher for this hour. Okay, all right. Hello, Carlos. Welcome back. How are you doing?
Thank you. Fine.
Good, very good. Well, I'm glad to have you back, Carlos.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your class before.
Good. So were you able to take a break between the last class? Were you able to get some rest or to eat?
Yes. This is my first day here in Berlin.
Okay.
I'm interested.
Good. So it looks like it's great to find and have motivated students. You tend to learn faster when you're motivated, when you really have a definite interest in learning. Good, Carlos. I really love to hear that. So how is your first day going? Do you like what you see here at Verbaling?
Yes, it's very entertaining and amusing and very interesting, all the topics that are in Berlin, and I love the topics because there are too many.
Yes, there are many topics. That's true. That's nice. Yeah, so it's good. So you get a chance to really expand and stretch your English vocabulary and grammar. Good.
Yes, that's right.
Good, Carlos. Great to have you. All right. So Elcio says he'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, Alejandro, were you able to take a break and get some food or stretch a little bit?
What is the question?
Okay, so were you able to stretch or get some food between the last class? Did you take a break?
No.
No. He says no, not really. Okay. Yeah, you sound like me. I didn't take a stretch between the last two classes. I really didn't. I probably should have, but by the time I finish, this is my last class, then I'll go ahead and take a really good stretch and find something to eat.
Of course, okay.
Yes, definitely. Okay, very good, guys. Well, as you can see, we are going to talk about old school. Okay, now this is an expression, and I'm going to put it in the chat box for us to take a look at. Okay, now I got this definition from the urbandictionary.com. Okay, but Wikipedia also has a good definition, so I'm going to put both of those definitions there. All right, so first let's start off with a little bit of reading. So if you've taken my classes before, you know I like to try to get you reading and speaking, listening, writing a little bit if I can do it. So we're going to start off with a little bit of reading. Okay, Carlos, can you read that definition for me? This is the definition of old school.
Of course. Anything that is from an earlier era and looked upon with high regard or respect can be used to refer to music, clothing, language, or anything really.
Okay. All right. So if I ask you, Carlos, what do you understand about old school? From that definition, what do you understand?
Old school. Uh, yes, okay. I think something that is old-fashioned, something that is retro, something like that.
Yeah, so good. So that's a good synonym for old school. So something that is old-fashioned. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Here's the difference. Okay. Old-fashioned can have both a positive sense to it or it could have a negative sense to it. Okay. So I could say, for example, I don't like her clothes. Okay. They are because they are old-fashioned. Okay. All right. So Carlos, what am I saying here? Does it sound positive or does it sound negative?
You say I love your clothes.
No, I said I don't like her clothes
Okay.
because they're old-fashioned.
Yes, it means that the cloth is too old. I mean that the people used to use in an early epoch time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the people don't use it nowadays.
All right, that's right. So they're old-fashioned. That's right. Okay. All right. Now, but taking a look at the definition again, okay, it says here that anything that comes from an earlier era and is looked upon with high regard or respect. Okay, so this has a positive tone to it. Okay. Now, it's interesting because it says you can use this expression old school if you're talking about music, clothing, language, or really anything. Okay. All right. So let's try it. Let's see if you can come up with a few examples. Okay. Let's first talk about personality. Okay, because it says you can use it for almost anything. So personality. Now, if you say that if you use old school to talk about someone's personality, what are you saying about their personality? Elcio, what do you think? So if I use the expression, he's old school, and I'm talking about his personality, what am I saying?
Like me, I am an old school man.
You're old school.
Very old school. Like 74.
Like 74.
I like it. It's many good times with music and clothes. I saw the internet rises, like a computer, smartphone.
Okay.
Very funny.
Now, here it is in context. Okay, so I could also say, instead of saying that he's old school, I could say,
like a very clever person can be.
Okay, so let me say that he opened the car door for his girlfriend. Okay. All right, so he opened the car door for his girlfriend. Okay.
I make this today for my wife.
You did that?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So in the past, men used to do that quite often. They would open car doors for their wives or open doors for their wives or girlfriends.
Yes.
Yeah. Elcio is a gentleman. Yes, good. So now that's another
because I
that's another synonym. Excuse me.
Don't smoke it. Don't smoke it.
No, no, no. Try not to choke. Try not to choke. Okay. Hello, Julio. Welcome to class. How are you doing?
Hello, teacher. I'm doing fine, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing just fine. Good. So, Julio, we're talking about an expression, okay? It can be used as a slang word, okay? But more and more, you're starting to see it in articles, and you hear it on the new. We hear it on like radio shows. You'll hear it on commentaries. You'll hear it. Okay, so we're talking about that. Okay, so old school is anything that comes from the past that is looked upon with respect. Okay, all right. So we're just talking right now about personality. So Elcio says that he is old school. Okay, and he gave us the example. Well, I gave him the example of opening the car door for his girlfriend. Well, actually, he has a wife. So his wife. So anything that is considered gentlemanly. Good. Okay, good. You can use that with an adverb. Very old school. Good. That's right. Okay, so it stands to reason that you can contrast it. Okay, you could say you're either old school or new school.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay, so
I know the word, the phrase.
mm-hmm.
It's very used in hip hop songs. Like, I'm old school. No, I rap in the old school way, like back in the
Okay.
80s. There's
Mm-hmm.
another phrase that goes really well with this one, which is back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Okay, so back in the day also refers to a previous time. Okay, but it's actually talking about the time period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's talking about a specific time period. Now, you know, some other phrases that fall in that. So let's take that. So back in the day, um, some people say, in my day. Okay, you'll find some older people start their sentences that way. In my day, or in my time. Okay, and they're talking about the past, and they're doing it in a fond or positive way. Okay, so here are some options that you have. Depending upon what you want to say and who you're talking to, you can choose any of these expressions, and they basically mean the same thing. All right, let's go back to talking about personality. All right, Alejandro, are you old school or new school? Tell us about your personality. Old school or new school?
I am old school.
Okay. Give me an example. Why do you say that you are old school?
I look after my dog since a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I have much experience.
Okay.
And then I am old school.
Okay. Okay. All right. Very good. Now, okay. So sometimes people are old school, or they can appreciate, you know, periods before, like the 70s or 80s. They can appreciate it, but some people are stuck. Like they're old school and they're not open to the new. Okay, so what about you, Alejandro? Do you think that you are stuck in the old school, or are you open to the new school as well?
I don't know what is stuck.
Okay, so stuck means that you don't change. You're not willing to try new things, or to accept the modern things. You just want the old things.
I don't like to change very much.
Okay, good. So you are 100, and you can say, I'm 100%.
I am a classic person.
Okay, good. So I'm 100% old school. All right, I'm a classic, and let's say traditional. Okay.
Traditional.
Yeah, traditional. Okay, nothing
No,
wrong with being.
no, very much.
So I'm traditional. I have a lot of experience. Okay, you could also say that too. I have, let's see, a lot of experience. Okay, yeah, that's true. You could also say I'm old-fashioned. Okay, now that's not a bad thing. Okay, you're just talking about your personality. These are some words that you can use. I'm old-fashioned. Okay, so if, for example, if you're not married and you're looking to be, okay, this is information that is vital, or you want to start a new friendship. Okay, hey, I'm old-fashioned. Okay, that lets the other person know how to deal with you. Okay, if you, to say it another way, hey, I'm old school. Okay, and so everyone knows what you mean. They know how to deal with you. Okay, good. Okay, Carlos, let's talk about your personality. Okay, Carlos, are you old school or are you new school?
I'm new school because I think that I didn't live in the 70s, in the 80s, so I am from the 90s.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you could also say I'm a modern man. Okay. So you're modern. Okay. So you are trendy. You could be hip. Um, you may not like the old-fashioned ways. Okay. You may just focus on the new. Because there are a lot of beautiful things about what's happening right now in the modern world.
Yes, I don't know how the people couldn't live without computers.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I guess if you don't ever have it, you don't know what you're missing. You make do with what you have. I mean, people wrote letters, so people received letters in the mail. Um, way back when people sent messages in a bottle, and
Uh, Email turns my life into hell.
so you don't like email, Elzio?
No, 200 mails in the morning, 200 mails in the afternoon.
Well, well,
Uh,
if you go back to the old-fashioned way, then people have to send you letters.
Time is flying with emails. Firework.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to talk to David for a second. David, tell us, are you old school or are you new school?
I don't know. Maybe sometimes I'm in new school, sometimes I'm in old school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Okay.
know.
So you're flexible. You know what you can say? Here's a word for you. I'm versatile. I'm versatile.
Versatile.
I'm versatile. And you can also say, oh, sorry, I didn't spell it right. Sorry about that. Let me spell it correctly. Versatile.
Perhaps everyone in Everbling are new school.
Okay, so because we're using
Yes,
Yeah,
technology,
yes, new
uh-huh.
approach.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, yeah, that could very well be. That's right. So that at least means that we're open to using new technology. Okay, we're open to it and we're doing it. Good. So we're getting some good adjectives here. Excellent job. All right. Now I need to hear from Julio. Julio, tell us, are you old school or are you new school?
I'm totally old school. I miss the old
Uh-huh.
days. Uh, I remember, especially when it comes to meeting people. I remember that
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, if you really wanted to meet someone, you actually needed to go and talk to that person and tell them, hey, hello, my name is Julio. How are you? What you doing? And stuff like that. And right now, it's just very common, and it's becoming even more common to just meet people online, which is
Mm-hmm.
good, but it kind of takes away that rush, that feeling of actually need to approach someone and talk to her. And
Mm-hmm.
when you are engaged in a relationship, I think that these new technologies take away a lot of the fun and this romantic feeling of what's the word, like wooing someone?
Wooing. Uh-huh.
Wooing someone,
Wooing
yeah.
someone. Mm-hmm.
So you really needed to, I don't know, send her flowers or send her like handwritten letters. And now everybody do that using Facebook all the time, like Facebook or texting and messaging. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember that I see a lot of people just putting in their profile on Facebook like they are in a relationship, and it means now it's a big deal. I mean, that's like the final proof of love that you put on your Facebook profile that you are in a relationship with that person. And
Your
and
Facebook
actually,
post.
yeah. And now you know what's the real final proof of love nowadays is
Hmm.
that you give your significant other your Facebook password, so she can log in into your account and look at your friends and see your conversations, stuff like that. So what's going
Hmm.
on with the world? I mean, back in the day, we
Wow.
didn't need to do that. I mean, girls actually
Mm-hmm.
trust us, kind of,
Yeah.
and
You say kind of.
technology is really changing a lot the way that we interact with people, and I don't
Mhm.
really like it. I mean, I wish I were living back in the 70s, in the early 80s when things were simpler.
Hmm. Now you bring up a few really well. You bring many good points, but let's talk about that a little bit more because you're right. Like because everyone is now into the technology, so people have cell phones, they have tablets, they have computers. Okay, and so people are always their eyes are always glued to those devices.
Yeah,
So you mentioned in relationships. Let's talk about relationships and also friendships. All right. Let me see what your classmates think because you told us what you think about it. Okay.
mhm.
Carlos, I'm going to go back to you. Carlos, what do you think about meeting people online? So let's say you wanted to find a girlfriend or you're looking to get married. What do you think about looking for someone online?
Well, I think it's an option. It's an option to meet people online and have a friendship. But you know, if you only write, it's only letters. It's only you don't have emotions to show. You only show. There aren't physical emotions. Only writing, and that's about point for me because it's important to be in contact with the people, to be there, to feel I don't know, the skin, to kiss the person. And I know people that have met another person from, I don't know, Europe, and he is in South America, and they are boyfriends, girlfriends, but I don't know. It's respectful, but I don't know. I suppose that it's too difficult to have that kind of relationship because the how do you can how can you, sorry, how can you be loyal to a person that you know from a long distance? So it's difficult, I think.
Okay. All right. David, tell us what you think about it.
Well, I think it's boring if you spend a lot of time in the internet and if you make friends through the internet. But it is what has happened today. Everything happened so fast.
Mm-hmm.
People know other people so fast. People have relationships so fast. Everything is so fast. It's the reality today.
You're
I don't
right.
know what, how the future is be. Maybe it will
Hmm.
be different. I don't know.
Yeah. So So yeah, so what will the future bring? You know, and so that's why, you know, when you talk about your personality and your way of doing things, it's good to know, okay, am I old school? Am I old fashioned in that? In that I like that face-to-face contact. I like being a gentleman or a lady. Or am I very modern and I like that everything is happening at a very fast pace? Okay, so it's definitely worth good conversation. So guys, let me ask you a question. Do you think that you could or would propose to someone online? What do you think about that? LCO, tell us what you think about that. You think it's good to propose to someone online? What do you think? Propose marriage, I mean.
Let me read the. I don't know. It's very strange for me.
You think it's strange?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not something.
Oh, sorry, my dog's teacher.
I think your dog has an opinion on that. Okay. All right. Well, do me a favor. Okay. When I see that you're thinking about it. Okay. Type me a message when you want to tell me what you think about it. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask Alejandro. Alejandro, what do you think? You think it's okay for a man to propose to a woman online? What do you think about that?
In some case, it's good because there are many people need to communicate, and I think it's good. Yes.
Okay. So you think it's all right? Okay.
Oh.
All right. Good. Let's
Sorry.
ask. Yeah. Go ahead. Elsa.
I'm prepared.
Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Let's hear it.
I think it's no good idea to propose anybody online. I need to see face to face. I need to feel the smell and look eye and eye for eye. The contact is very important.
Okay, good. So eye contact is very important. Okay, I'm just typing some of what you're saying here in the chat box. That way we do some vocabulary building. Good. Excellent job. All right. Okay, David, is that something that you think you could ever do, to propose to someone online?
Propose a marriage?
Yes.
No. You don't know who is the other person. Maybe it's a crazy person.
you never know. That's true.
Maybe other man.
You need know
Undercover.
first. For
Undercover
a
man.
long time of a relationship, then you can marry.
Okay, so you're definitely not for it. Okay, let's see what Julio has to say about that. Julio, are you for or against proposing marriage online? What do you think?
That's such a terrible idea, and it takes away completely all the fun and the interpersonal interaction that you need to have with someone. At least you have to see that person right in the eye. If you're gonna tell her something so important as it is to ask her to marry you. I've never seen someone doing that online yet. I'm pretty sure someone is already did that because that's what people do. And but no, I don't see a why to do it that way. I think that's also disrespectful. I mean, if I were a girl, I mean, I would just send him immediately to hell just for proposing me in that way. I think that's something very personal. That's something that you need to see or to say face to face and in a special place where it's the right moment. And well, at least in that way, I'm very old-fashioned. Um, and I also, I mean, when it comes to relationships and technology, I'm completely against that mixing those two things. I've seen couples when they are on a date, and instead of being having fun and laughing, drinking a cup of wine or something, they are just everyone is texting on their phones, and they are just taking pictures of themselves and posting them online like if they were having the time of their lives. But they don't really. I mean, people on the other side of the screen, they don't know how depressing that date is because everyone is just talking with people that are away from them. So that's another thing with this technology. It kind of brings people closer, but brings that people that are far from each other closer, but it actually uh, keep apart that the people that are close to you in that moment. So it's a
Yeah.
double-edged sword, and I don't like that when it comes to relationships. So I wish we didn't have all this technology and we just were back in the day where we could just talk with each other and do things in a personal way.
hmm
That's my opinion about it.
Okay, thanks for sharing your opinion with us. And you know, it's true. There are a lot of beautiful things about modern life and style, technology, a lot of good things. But there are some things that were very good from the past that, you know, really should still be there. You know, it touches on our values and our morals, things of that nature. Interesting. All right, let's continue to talk about old school, but let's talk about music. Okay. I
Ooh.
okay. I recently, I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you guys, but you know, I'm from the States, but I live in Costa Rica, and I'm at home right now. I'm in the United States. I'm visiting my family and my friends, and someone suggested, or did I find it one day? I think I found it one day. I was trying to find a good radio station to listen to because I love music. And I came across this, and they call it the old school radio station. So their motto is, the people that listen to it, okay, this is their motto. Okay, I'm not old, I just like old school music. Okay, all right, so first of all, let's talk about what we mean by old school music. Okay, I think we've talked about old-fashioned, but that word doesn't really fit here. We're not talking about old-fashioned music. What are we really talking about? Okay, can anyone tell me? When you hear this expression, I just like old school music, what are we really talking about here?
Like a difference between old school and old-fashioned music?
Mm-hmm.
It depends. Like AC/DC is old school.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps Lady Gaga is old-fashioned music. Do you agree?
I don't know.
You like Lady Gaga?
She's not. No, I'm not really a Lady Gaga follower. No. I mean, maybe there's like maybe one song that kind of has a catchy beat to it, but I'm not really into Lady Gaga.
Who is Lady Gaga?
Okay, well that's the
I
question.
don't know.
That's the question. Okay, all right, very good. So yeah, so let's talk about that just a little bit more. Alejandro, when you hear this expression, I just like old school music, what am I saying that I really like? What do I like?
I think music is creative, and and here all school and new school, mm, it isn't uh, it isn't a good idea.
Mhm.
Music is um, come to coming to the soul,
Mhm. It's coming
uh,
to.
yeah, from the heart, from
The soul. Yes, that's right.
the
It comes from the
soul.
soul. Uh-huh,
Uh,
right, right. Mm-hmm.
Music is always sorry, I don't have vocabulary.
That's okay. It's good to practice. That way you can get some new vocabulary. So do you mean that it's constantly changing? It's evolving? It's, I don't know.
Well, more or less, I think that.
Okay. 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 So some people will say, okay, so if you talk about old school music, what decades are we talking about? Uh-huh. So, okay. Go ahead, Carlos.
I don't know, maybe 80s, 70s.
Okay, so the 70s or 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a period of time, there are rock bands and artists that are legends. Mostly in rock bands, Queen, Beatles, Rolling Stones, and AC/DC, and it's amazing. I love that kind of music.
That's interesting. All right, so here's my question. So music that comes even from the 50s, maybe even before that, excuse me. So even before that, so music from the 40s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, why do we still like that kind of music? I mean, it was popular decades ago. Well, what do you think, David? Why is it that we still like that kind of music? Why do we like old school music?
Because the artists today are very bad.
Very boring.
Boring, bad. We don't have creativity.
Without salt, without pepper, without sugar.
So they're very bland. Okay, okay. So they're very bad. So okay. So say some more about that, Debbie. Why do you say they're very bad? What's missing? What's different?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe some people can like of the news artists, the news rock bands, but I don't remember of no one of the new bands that I like. I'm trying to remember, but I don't remember.
Try to compare Justin Bieber with AC/DC or Beatles.
Oh, almost the same. Yeah. Justin Bieber never saw the musical instrument.
Okay. All right. So
I think Nickelback is good. It is new.
I like Nickelback. Yeah. They have. Yeah. Good. All right, Julio. What's your take on it? What do you think? Why do we still like old school music? And what's happening with today's artists?
Well, I think that first of all, I think that music is timeless. That's why we like music. It doesn't matter when it was written. If it was good, it was good, and it's always gonna be good. We have a special, or we feel fond of this music because it's kind of nostalgic to us.
Yeah.
It kind of remember us when we were kids, when we were teenagers, our first school dance, when you were in love for the first time. So it gives you this feeling of taking you back to that moment, and to make some feelings that were buried inside you flourish again. So it has this special attribute. It causes you to go back in the past and to feel young again, and that's why we really, that's why it will never go away. And even I'm thinking about today's music. I think today's music is great. There are some really great artists. I think technology has also contributed to new stars being born. And now it's easier if you really have the talent to go and post some videos on YouTube. And if you are really talented, someone is gonna look at you and is gonna say, "Hey, this guy can really sing. This guy can really play."
Mm-hmm.
And now kids and musicians have more exposure than they used to have in the back in the day. You, I remember that a few years ago, you needed to have a contract with a record label to be successful, and now you don't really need that. You have all the media and all the technology to be seen all over the world. And I think that today we have great artists. I'm not a believer. I don't defend Justin Bieber in any way. I think that guy is talented though. I thought that guy has some talent. That guy can really sing, and that guy was just a normal person, just like you and me. And he
Mm-hmm.
happened to post his videos online, and people thought it was cool, and people liked his music, and now he is on the top of the world. And I think there are a lot of people that hate when good things happen to other people, and that's why we feel sometimes jealous. But I think that guy's talented, and there are a lot of musicians that are really talented nowadays. And someday in the future, the music that we're listening today is going to be considered the old school music.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we enjoy the old school music and the music that we have today? Then we can have the best of both worlds, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, no, that's definitely an interesting take. You know, I was just thinking as you were talking, so what makes a performer talented? Okay, now we've talked about old school and new school, and some of the comments have been, well, the newer people, they're not as talented. Okay, so Alejandro, I want to ask you, what makes a performer or a musician talented? For you, what makes a person talented?
I like only Celtic music. And
That's
So,
really old school.
I don't listen. mm, I don't listen uh, other other music.
okay,
Yes,
okay. So now you said Celtic music, is that right?
yes, Celtic
Okay.
music.
Okay, Celtic music. So that's instrumental music, or is there are there vocals with that as well? Do they
Uh,
sing, or is it just music?
Musician and singer.
Okay, okay. So I take it that you like the music. Do they have different instruments that they play? Or what is it that you like about Celtic music? Since you only listen to that, what do you like about it?
Um, I like the harmony of all instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Okay.
the flute, um, pipes, uh, uh, drums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, yes, Yes. Sorry.
You're doing good.
Es que me atasco.
It's okay. It's okay. You're doing good. Keep it up. Yeah, so now you mentioned a couple of different things. Okay, now I'm going to throw some other vocabulary out your way, and let's continue to talk about it. So you talked about the harmony of instruments. Okay, the harmony of instruments. Okay, let's talk about, speaking of harmony, let's talk about fusion. Okay, now when you said the harmony of music, I instantly thought of an artist that I rarely listen to, but I really like their style. Yanni, okay, for example. I don't know if anyone has heard of Yanni, or maybe it's Yanni.
People.
Yeah, okay, so Yanni is, I think he's Greek, and he's a musician, composer. So,
I like Yanni.
Yeah, tell me about that, Elcio. Why do you like Yanni?
Because a kind of music is many electronic synthesizers and many musicians together. It's a high definition sound I like, but I am the age of the Jean-Michel Jarre.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know
No.
Jean-Michel Jarre?
No,
A French
I don't.
musician.
No, I don't know.
He's Yanni, old Yanni.
He's older than Yanni.
Yes, very old. He's spectacular.
He's old, but he's spectacular.
I will send you a link for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're a great opportunity to listen Jean-Michel Jarre.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. All right. So let me throw this out there to you guys. So we talked about harmony. We're talking about fusion. I think one comment that I've heard about old school music is that that's when people really played music. They really enjoyed the talent was what you could do when you played the piano or when you played a saxophone. Okay, they really paid attention to the music, to real music. And also, performers danced. They sang and they danced. So there was great music, and then you got a wonderful visual with their performance. Okay, nowadays, people tend to compromise. Okay, so what you tend to see is a lot of nudity instead of quality acts. And I don't know, for me, I don't really enjoy that. What do you think about that, David? What's your take on that? Okay, what is talent today? Is it nudity? Is it cursing? What is talent today?
I don't know. I didn't understand the question.
Okay, so what is talent? When we talk about music, what makes a group or a singer talented? What is talent today?
I don't know. Maybe it's personal.
Okay.
Answer. Talent can be different for different people.
Mm-hmm.
For me, talent is when the artist study a lot and struggle a lot to do what he is doing, and get acknowledgement to do it very well.
Mm-hmm.
And put his personality into his doing.
Okay, so it means being good at your craft. It really means devoting time and effort into, just being a wonderful performer to really, yeah. Mm-hmm. Very good. Yeah, I like your take on that. That is very interesting. Okay. Okay, very good. Good job. This is a really good discussion about the changes in music. I know when I came home, I really liked that old school music, and I think it is what Julio said. It really took me back to some very fond memories that I had. Yeah, very good. Okay, Jean-Michael Jarre. Okay, all right, I'll take a look at that. All right, guys, I like Elcio's idea, and maybe you guys can tell me something. Maybe you can give me a suggestion of someone you consider to be a talented performer. He could be a talented musician or a talented singer. Okay, so go ahead and shoot me a chat, or maybe you can just tell me about it. I have this one in the chat from Elcio.
You never knew about Jean-Michel Jarre?
No, really, I really haven't heard of him.
Unbelievable. You're very young.
No, Elcio. I mean, thank you. Thank you. It's a lot closer to you than you think. Okay. All right. So Elcio gave me one. Okay. So Carlos, David, Alejandro. Okay. So I'm looking out for your chats. I'd like you to make a suggestion. I'm actually taking notes because I actually will go ahead and take a look at some of these. Okay. So David Blaine. Julio, tell us about David Blaine.
David Blaine is a magician. He became famous for performing street magic, and he's really good at what he does. He's like most magicians. We all know that it's a trick, it's an illusion. He is deceiving us, but he does that in such a magnificent way that he really makes you feel like something out of the ordinary, that something supernatural is going on. Okay, and I like, because when I see some of his videos, I can see the people's reaction. They really freaked out. They really feel like something strange, something that they would never expect it to see. It's going on in front of their eyes. And when it comes to talent, I believe the talent is nothing more than just being able to make the audience relate to you, and that make them feel something that they cannot feel anywhere else. And I think that this guy does a very good job with that. So I really like David Blaine and his magic.
Okay, all right, good. So you gave us a good definition of talent, and you gave us a good example. Excellent. Julio, you do a very good job with your descriptive adjectives. This is what you say comes to life, and you actually believe what you're saying. So that's excellent that you're doing that in English. Excellent job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, good. All right, good. All right, guys. Well, we just have just 5 minutes left in the class, and I know that some of you have to get going to get to your next classes. So I'm going to end our class now. It's been a pleasure to have you all here in class with me today, and this is very good. So every time, even if you struggle to get your ideas out, every time you take a class, challenge yourself a little bit more, and you'll see, after a short period of time, you'll see that that you're getting better at expressing your ideas. Okay, guys, very good. So please look out for my future lessons. Also, if you want to take a one-on-one class with me, you can do that on Verbling website, on the Verbling website. All right, everybody. Bye. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.